Welcome back to AgriTalk. Again, our thanks to Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack for joining us in the opening segment to talk about steps taken by the administration to help producers during this drought of 2012. We're also very thankful to the folks here at the U.S. Meat Export Federation for hosting us while we have been in Denver yesterday and today. Very much appreciate the hospitality and a chance to talk about the work of the U.S. Meat Export Federation. We start off with the President and CEO, Phil Seng. Phil, good to see you. There may be people that aren't really aware of how this all got started, so I want to kind of go back and give a little history of the U.S. Meat Export Federation and really the goal, the mission of the MEF.
Well, the USMEF, actually, we're in our 36th year as far as the beginning of the MEF. We just celebrated our 35th anniversary last year. Basically what it is an amalgam of different interests coming together. Initially, there were beef producers who really saw the benefit of exporting. Some people had gone to Japan in the 1970s and seen the prices of beef there and knew what our prices were here and thought that we could make a market out of it. And so some of those forward-thinking people got together, decided to form this organization. Went to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, where there had already been like the U.S. Grains Council and the U.S. Soybean Association and some of those. And for a value-added cooperator, as we're called, that was established 35 years ago. And I think the idea there is to form a dynamic partnership of a lot of different interests coming together in order to increase the profitability and the viability of the U.S. beef, pork, and lamb industry.
And that has happened.
Very much so. I mean, last year we exported, if you combine it with beef and pork and lamb, about $11.5 billion worth of agricultural exports. That's part of the U.S.'s success of record-breaking exports of $141 billion. And we have one of the fastest growing sectors in U.S. agriculture as far as the export markets. So it's very, very vital to what we've been able to accomplish, but also very important to us as far as the future is concerned.
A lot of successes, but still a lot of challenges, and we'll get into those and through the course of this program kind of break it down market by market. But you and I were talking before going on the air with all the talk about the drought, and certainly we know the impact here in this country. But our customers around the world, whether they're buying corn or soybeans or they're buying meat, I'm sure they are asking questions about supply. Will the supply be there? In the case of meat, they're hearing about herd liquidations and things like that. What are you hearing from our customers?
Well, we have a lot of customers who come to the United States, and they especially come in the spring and the summer because it's an opportunity for them to really see our production agriculture in bloom, if you will. And I don't think there's been a team that's been here since early May that hasn't had questions about the drought, about the extent of it. I think everybody was very excited when we announced that there's going to be record corn crops, but then soon thereafter we got into this extreme heat. And I think everyone is very concerned about supply because those inputs, as we well know, are very, very central to the profit or to the viability and also to the production of beef, pork, and lamb. And obviously, they want to know if there's going to be the availability. And in a lot of these countries where they still have tariffs, like in Japan of 38.5% or Korea of about 40%, when you take the price of the product plus those tariffs, it becomes very expensive to the consumers. And a lot of governments are very sensitive at this point in time.
Let's focus in now on the Asian markets, and let's talk about the Japanese market in particular. Still the age limit on cattle, that's an issue. Where are we with that?
Well, the Japanese are working on that. They've been working on this since the turn of the year. They're going to have their 7th Food Safety Commission meeting and probably subcommittee meeting on September 5th. We feel that this is going to be their last session. This was announced by the chairman of that group, and he said it's going to be the last one, so we take him for his word. Then they have a rulemaking process in Japan, just like we do here in the United States. They will take a look at this. They will have comments from, they'll go around Japan. There'll be a comment period. They'll look at those comments, and they'll formulate that into an ask, and they will present that then to their Minister of Health, Labor, and Welfare. And if this all goes according to plan, I would think that probably November, December, it's quite likely that we would see a move by the Japanese to move from 20 months beyond, which would be very important to us because that would then account for probably over 95% of the cattle that are presented for slaughter here would be eligible for the Japanese market, which would be very important.
So you think we're getting close then to that age limit being lifted?
I think we're very close. Japan has been well into this process. Like I say, they're working on this. I think the only thing is that it hasn't been announced. They will probably send an audit team to take a look at some of our plants just to make sure that everything is going according to plan. A lot of that's done for also consumption over there. So the press, the people, when they ask questions, they can say, "Yeah, we've gone to the plants as recently as X date, and everything is up to snuff." So we see this as very, very helpful in the process.
Yeah, we'd like to see it happen much more quickly, but there's a lot involved in the process that they have to keep in mind as well. We're talking with Phil Seng, President and CEO of the U.S. Meat Export Federation, as we broadcast from their offices in Denver. We'll come back and talk more about the Asian market. We'll look at Taiwan. We'll talk about China. We'll talk about some of the issues that we're dealing with there. Later, we're going to talk about Mexico, Latin America, Russia, Europe, the Middle East. A lot to talk about. Again, a lot of successes, a lot of good opportunities. We've had a lot of good sales in these markets, but there's potential for more if we can overcome some barriers. We'll talk about that as well. Stay with us from Denver. This is AgriTalk.